interfering in the sovereign affairs of another nation under the guise of moral crusade. Every nation must consider the consequences of its choices.
The people of Jamaica, I speak today not as a man under threat, nor as a leader seeking applause. I speak as a son of Africa, who has watched too many of Jamaicans across the seas being spoken for, ruled for, and now spoken against in the language of fear and misunderstanding. A few days ago, a message was broadcast from Kingston, Jamaica, a speech by Prime Minister Andrew Holness in which my name and the name of Burkina Faso were mentioned with suspicion and warning. The words were carefully chosen, calm on the surface, but sharp beneath. And yet, I understood them. Because when a man speaks with measured calm while defending a broken system, it is not peace that speaks through him, it is fear. Let me first make something clear. I did not speak to Jamaica to interfere in its politics. I spoke to Jamaica because history has already tied us together. The chains that left Africa centuries ago did not dissolve in the Atlantic. They stretched, and they anchored themselves in the Caribbean. My words were not weapons, they were mirrors. I did not speak to overthrow a government. I spoke to awaken a people. If that has caused discomfort, then perhaps it is not my voice that disturbs, but the echo of truth that follows it.
My fellow Jamaicans, brothers and sisters across the African continent, distinguished members of the international community, and most importantly, Captain Ibrahim Traore, President of the Transitional Government of Burkina Faso. I come before you with a heart that is heavy, but also open. I come not to speak as a man defending himself, but as a leader willing to acknowledge fault. And I come not to diminish my office, but to honor it by admitting a truth that all leaders at some point in their journey must face. Sometimes we misspeak, sometimes we misjudge, and sometimes we must apologize. Several weeks ago, in a live broadcast, I used the word dictator to describe Captain Ibrahim Traore. That single word has echoed far beyond my intention. It has stirred emotions, fueled debates, and created tension between Jamaica and Burkina Faso.
Is Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, Jamaica, and Andrew Holness at war? Now, I saw this video circulating all about over the internet, even on YouTube, and it accumulated a whole heap of views. Some channel, it get over 200,000 views. Now, I am not going to say that this is 100% legit, people, because knowing Andrew Holness is not the type of person to apologize to nobody. It come like when him a join the lodge system, then tell him not to apologize, because I have never seen Andrew Holness apologize. But inside of this video, he attacked Ibrahim Traore and call him a dictator, just as America and the rest of country them that are fighting against Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traore, they call him a dictator, a try to dictate the people. But Andrew Holness not in the position to call nobody no dictator, because when you check it out, Andrew Holness is one of the biggest corrupted dictator you can ever come across. Andrew Holness is the king of dictator, the devil of dictator. Andrew Holness is a manipulator, a dictator, a controlling freak. So him not supposed to fear call nobody no dictator. But people, I have the videos that I am going to play for you guys. But before we do that, make we start the video the right way. Blessed morning to my viewers and my subscribers. Me hope everybody having a blessed and a wonderful morning. Now, my viewers and my subscribers, remember, in everything you do, always put God first in every and any situation. Just always remember to call upon God. Always remember to pray, because a prayer a day keep the devil away. Now, my viewers and my subscribers, we have a lot coming up inside this update, so you definitely don't want to miss none. So remember, watch the video until the end, and also like up the video, share up the video, and subscribe to the channel. Alright? Make we run the intro and come back. We soon forward. Welcome back to my viewers and my subscribers. Big up to all of my viewers, big up to all of my subscribers. We continually support the channel and help the channel to grow. Now people, remember to like and share this video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed as yet. So people, we have a thieving, wicked, evil prime minister that are trying to destroy this country, this nation, because Andrew Wallace no love that country a bit. Now, I don't know what wrong with the people of Jamaica, why they cannot see out of their eyes, or me don't know if Andrew Wallace have some form of spell on them. But when you see a prime minister like Andrew Wallace, I go try to get rid of human being out of their jobs for 15 robot, you must know say something definitely gone wrong. Now, by now, you're supposed to know the aim of the Prime Minister. I put it in my recent video that I released last night. You can go and check it out. Andrew are planning to replace our people. Andrew Wellness are planning to replace our people with robot. Now I saw some people say, if Andrew Wellness do that, them a go strike and what a go happen. But let me tell you this. You, the people of Jamaica, will not learn or will not wake up until your back is against the wall and there is nothing that you can do. I'm going to say it again. You, the people out there, the people in Jamaica, you will not wake up until your back is against the wall and there is nothing that you can do. That is when you will wake up. Just like the video I posted the other day, where the guy, the labor right blogger guy, I cried to Andrew Wallace. I say Andrew Wallace now help the youth them. Andrew Wallace have police analyze the youth them. And Andrew Wallace make police lock him up with water gun and charge him. It reaching doorstep. Him back is against the wall now. So he might cry out. But people, all I can say, don't sit back and wait until your back is against the wall. By now and next year, I can tell you that all of the call centers here in Jamaica will close down. Every single call center I go lock down. By now and next year, half of public sector workers will lose their jobs. I can tell you that. So, as I said before, you're all waiting until your back is against the wall. But me know the chicks what them a come with. For the public sector workers them, me telling you this. They're gonna cut your job. But guess how them are gonna do it? They're gonna say, for who take the digital ID, you will keep your jobs. And who don't take the digital ID, you can go home. That is what they're gonna do. They're gonna try and spite you all. I can smell the coffee from afar. But people, just wake up. Look out on the eyes because everything is right in front of you. It'll play out. I just have to wake up, people. You understand? But make we move on from that. I have a video to play from Nikisha Burchell, people. On the know say Nikisha Burchell have been working. So I have a video from her to play, and then we are going to get back to the Ibrahim Traore and the Andrew Wallace situation. All right? So check this out.
Parliament was busy this week, but a question you should be asking is, busy doing what? For who? Behind the speeches and statistics, three big issues took center stage this week: tourism, health, and justice. Three sectors that touch every Jamaican life. From the beaches to the hospital wards to the courtroom, what we heard inside Gordon House this week says a lot about where Jamaica is headed and who's really benefiting. So you should take note of this. This is The Breakdown, Parliament Edition. I'm Nikisha Burchell, your Shadow Minister for Information, Culture and Creative Industries. Let's jump right into it. Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett painted a glowing picture, of course: new flights, new markets, and his local first agenda. The opposition, of course, welcomed the ambition, but raised tough questions about how much of it will truly benefit Jamaicans. Damian Crawford pointed out that Jamaica is still far too dependent on US market. 70% of arrivals, he said, comes from US, which means one lockdown, one next COVID crisis in the States can collapse our numbers. He pressed for a special hotel minimum wage, better protection for small hoteliers, craft vendors and taxi operators, and real benefits for who? The workers, of course.
The Jamaica First Statement must also be a part of the consideration for the benefits of the industry in the most direct Jamaican, i.e. the employees. Indeed, it is necessary for us to consider a special hotel minimum wage because the circumstances of the hotel workers are not the norm of a regular 9 to 5.
PNP President Mark Golding also cautioned that the government's 5x5x5 vision isn't adding up. Projected arrivals and earnings both fall short of the $5 billion mark. Yet the minister insists Jamaica is still on course.
Relating to the 5x5x5 vision, you indicated that that began in 2020, so this would be the fifth year of the 5. And you say that Jamaica is firmly on course to achieving it, but you've said that the projected arrivals for this year, 2025, is 4.3 million, and that the earnings are projected at 4.6 billion US. Both of those are below 5 billion visitors and $5 billion. So I was wondering on what basis you say you're on course for achieving it.
Other MPs, Drs. Angela Brown-Burke, Dayton Campbell, Kenneth Russell, MP Dwayne Vaz, Heather Miller-Bennett, Ian Hales, and Omar Newell echoed similar concerns. From farmers and fishers to Negrils infrastructure, sports, tourism, and even including Africa and creatives in the global marketing push. The message was clear. Local first sounds good, but unless it delivers for workers, farmers, and communities, it risks becoming just another slogan. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave an update on dengue, but the opposition says Jamaicans need more than fogging and photo ops. Dr. Alfred Dawes, the new shadow minister, pulled no punches, accusing the minister of deflecting from deeper cries in the health system, from leaking hospitals, delayed projects, neglected mental health, and procurement scandals. He also pointed to Portmore's blocked drains, saying mosquitoes are breeding faster than the ministry is acting.
There are questions hovering around about an Integrity Commission report. There are questions as to how we are really dealing with mental health in Jamaica and the renaming and rebranding of a hospital that has leaking wards, overcrowded patients, and no capital budget for about 5 years coming from the Ministry of Health, with previous announcements about destigmatization going back as far as from 2019 by the Honorable Minister where residents are not growing their food at the Bellevue Hospital because of therapy, but because of sustenance, because the food budget has been cut.
Other MPs, including Isaac Buchanan, Omar Newell, and Lothan Cousins, pressed on garbage collection. The risk they spoke of was of malaria and why cleanup campaigns only begin after the seasonal peak was already predicted. The opposition's line, dengue prevention should have started months ago. Finally, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck tabled amendments to the Criminal Records Act. Shadow Minister Zuleika Jess welcomed the reforms but said they don't go far enough. She argued that expungement in Jamaica takes far too long and called for automatic clearance of minor offences after the rehabilitation period, virtual board meetings to cut down backlog, and an end to unfair gaps where Jamaicans convicted here are treated more harshly than those abroad. Her point was clear. Redemption shouldn't take a lifetime, and justice should mean a real second chance.
My contribution today is therefore based on how we can improve that system. I note the minister's proposal, but I do believe that it is important for us to go further. I must confess there is a sense of discomfort on my end as it relates to the proposed amendment that is contained in Clause 3, which would essentially allow persons who are convicted of offences in other jurisdictions to have their records expunged, but individuals who are convicted here of the very same offences cannot have their records expunged. I must confess that it does not sit very well with me.
But these proposed changes also have real implications for Jamaican women and girls. So even if the debate feels technical, I beg you, pay attention. It's going to continue for at least another 2 weeks. If you have thoughts or concerns about what should be in this law, share them with your MP, with the party, or right here in the chat, in the comments. We will pick them up and represent them. We'll take your feedback into the national conversation to make sure the final legislation truly reflects the people's voice and protects citizens from being disadvantaged or abused. So Tuesday's sitting showed the tension between glossy headlines and ground realities. Tourism is growing, but will locals feel it? Dengue is rising, but is prevention too late? Justice reform is coming, but will it protect those who need it most? Parliament isn't just for politicians, it's for you too. Stay informed, stay involved, and keep holding power to account. That's it for this edition of The Breakdown, Parliament Edition. I'm Nikisha Burchell. See you next time.
Now, back to the word of war between Ibrahim Traore and Andrew Wallace people. So, Andrew Wallace allegedly provoked Ibrahim Traore, and Ibrahim Traore allegedly answer back to Andrew Wallace. So, people, we are going to play the video so you guys can have a better understanding of what I am talking about, and then we are going to come back and talk some more about it. All right? Soon come.
Interfering in the sovereign affairs of another nation under the guise of moral crusade. Every nation must consider the consequences of its choices.
The people of Jamaica, I speak today not as a man under threat, nor as a leader seeking applause. I speak as a son of Africa, who has watched too many of Jamaicans across the seas being spoken for, ruled for, and now spoken against in the language of fear and misunderstanding. A few days ago, a message was broadcast from Kingston, Jamaica, a speech by Prime Minister Andrew Holness in which my name and the name of Burkina Faso were mentioned with suspicion and warning. The words were carefully chosen, calm on the surface, but sharp beneath. And yet, I understood them. Because when a man speaks with measured calm while defending a broken system, it is not peace that speaks through him, it is fear. Let me first make something clear. I did not speak to Jamaica to interfere in its politics. I spoke to Jamaica because history has already tied us together. The chains that left Africa centuries ago did not dissolve in the Atlantic. They stretched, and they anchored themselves in the Caribbean. My words were not weapons, they were mirrors. I did not speak to overthrow a government. I spoke to awaken a people. If that has caused discomfort, then perhaps it is not my voice that disturbs, but the echo of truth that follows it. For centuries, Africa has been told to remain silent, to watch quietly while the sons and daughters stolen from her were taught to see their motherland as distant, dark, and defeated. And when, at last, Africa speaks not through guns or coercion, but through love and remembrance, we are told, again, to be silent. Prime Minister Holness said I was meddling in Jamaican affairs. But I ask you, when a man reminds another of his roots, is that interference? When a son calls to a brother who has been separated for 400 years, is that political manipulation? I say no. That is not politics. That is memory. That is blood speaking to blood. I must defend not only my government, but the dignity of my people. Burkina Faso does not seek conflict with Jamaica, nor with any Caribbean nation. We are fighting our own war, not against nations, but against the lingering ghosts of colonial control. We are fighting for the right to think freely, to govern without permission, to live without begging. When I spoke to the Caribbean, I spoke as a leader who has seen what independence truly costs. It costs misunderstanding. It costs isolation. It costs the anger of those who benefit from your obedience. I understand that burden, and I do not fault Andrew Holness for his words, because in truth, he does not speak entirely for himself. Many leaders do not. They speak the language of those who feed them. It is not a crime to be afraid of losing power, but it is dangerous to trade dignity for it. The true enemy is not Ibrahim Traore, nor Burkina Faso, nor any African nation seeking its freedom. The true enemy is the invisible hand that still guides too many governments, the institutions that lend money with one hand and take sovereignty with the other. Prime Minister Holness warned against foreign influence.
My fellow Jamaicans, brothers and sisters across the African continent, distinguished members of the international community, and most importantly, Captain Ibrahim Traore, President of the Transitional Government of Burkina Faso. I come before you with a heart that is heavy, but also open. I come not to speak as a man defending himself, but as a leader willing to acknowledge fault. And I come not to diminish my office, but to honor it by admitting a truth that all leaders at some point in their journey must face. Sometimes we misspeak, sometimes we misjudge, and sometimes we must apologize. Several weeks ago, in a live broadcast, I used the word dictator to describe Captain Ibrahim Traore. That single word has echoed far beyond my intention. It has stirred emotions, fueled debates, and created tension between Jamaica and Burkina Faso, two nations whose histories should unite them, not divide them. And tonight, I am here to say plainly and sincerely, I regret those words. I take responsibility for them, and I offer my heartfelt apology. When I spoke that day, I spoke with conviction. I spoke as a leader who believes deeply in the values of democracy, values that Jamaica has held close for decades. I spoke from a place of concern, but I failed to speak from a place of understanding. Conviction without compassion is dangerous. Principles without perspective can wound. And in calling Captain Traore a dictator, I crossed the line between principled critique and personal disrespect. It was not my role to reduce a fellow leader, especially one facing immense challenges in his homeland, to a single word that carries such weight, such judgment, and such finality. Yes, I believe in democracy. Yes, I believe in elections, in parliaments, in institutions that protect the will of the people. But I also believe in respect. Respect for the paths that nations choose. Respect for the burdens leaders carry, and respect for the struggles that shape their choices. Captain Traore, in my choice of words, I failed to extend that respect, and for that, I am sorry. To the people of Burkina Faso, You are a nation of resilience. You are a people who have endured colonization, coups, poverty, and the ongoing threat of violent extremism. And yet, you stand proud, you stand tall. You continue to fight for a future that is free, independent, and dignified. Your leader, Captain Traore, took power in a time of crisis. He is young, yes, but he is bold. He faces a reality most of us cannot imagine, an ongoing war with forces that seek to destabilize and destroy. While the world debates, he acts. While others hesitate, he makes decisions. I may not share his methods, I may not embrace his path, but I must recognize his courage. And I must respect the fact that his people look to him not only as a ruler, but as a symbol of their fight for sovereignty. When I labeled him a dictator, I failed to honor that reality. I spoke too quickly, too harshly, without the humility that every leader owes to another who walks the hard road of governance. My fellow Jamaicans, I also owe you this truth. Leadership is not about never making mistakes. Leadership is about admitting them when they happen and correcting them before they cause further harm. When I called Captain Traore a dictator, I did so with the belief that I was defending democracy. But in doing so, I risked damaging Jamaica's reputation as a nation of respect, as a nation that values dialogue over division, and as a nation that stands for unity among the peoples of the global South. We are a small island, but we are a proud one. Our voice on the international stage matters, and when we use that voice carelessly, the world listens not to our wisdom, but to our mistakes. Tonight, I want Jamaicans to know this. Your Prime Minister is not above apology. Your Prime Minister is not above reflection. And your Prime Minister is not too proud to say, I was wrong. To Africa, our ancestral home, our mother continent, I extend this apology with even deeper sincerity. Jamaica is tied to Africa by blood, by history, by spirit. The chains of slavery that bound our ancestors were forged in Africa. The songs of freedom that carried us through struggle were inspired by Africa. And the strength that keeps us alive today flows from the same river that nourishes you. How then could I, as the leader of a nation built on the resilience of Africans, use words that divide rather than unite? How could I, even in defense of democracy, fail to show empathy to a brother leader navigating storms beyond my imagination? I do not take lightly the pain my words may have caused across the continent, and I stand before you to repair, not to wound, to build, not to break. Some will ask, why apologize? Why retract words once spoken? Isn't it weakness? No, it is strength. It is strength to stand firm when you are right, but it is even greater strength to step back when you are wrong. Pride may win applause in the moment, but humility builds trust for generations. I apologize, not because I was forced, not because I was pressured, but because it is right, and because the relationship between Jamaica and Africa is too important to be clouded by careless words. Captain Traore, allow me to speak to you directly. I may not walk your path, but I respect the road you travel. I may not lead your people, but I respect the burden you carry. I acknowledge your courage in standing against forces that seek to weaken your nation. I acknowledge your determination to assert independence in a world where small nations are often pressured and dismissed. And I acknowledge that while we may disagree, I should never have dismissed your leadership with a single word. I extend my hand to you not as an adversary, but as a brother, not as a critic, but as a fellow leader. I hope you will accept this apology, not as weakness, but as an invitation an invitation to dialogue, to partnership, to mutual respect. What do I hope comes from this apology? I hope it sparks a deeper conversation between Jamaica and Burkina Faso. I hope it reminds the world that our nations, though small in size, are large in spirit and capable of setting an example of humility and reconciliation. I hope it reminds leaders everywhere that words matter, that we must wield them carefully, not recklessly. That in an age where every statement is amplified across the globe, humility is no longer optional, it is essential. And most of all, I hope it builds a bridge between Kingston and Ouagadougou, a bridge between the Caribbean and Africa, a bridge strong enough to withstand the storms of politics, built not on pride, but on respect. My fellow Jamaicans, citizens of Burkina Faso, members of the global community, tonight I stand before you not as a man without fault, but as a man willing to admit fault. To Captain Ibrahim Traore, I say again, I am sorry. To the people of Burkina Faso, I am sorry. To the people of Jamaica, I am sorry. To Africa, to the Caribbean, to the world, I am sorry. May we move forward not with resentment, but with reconciliation. Not with division, but with dialogue. Not with arrogance, but with humility. Because in the end, leadership is not about always being right. It is about always striving to do what is right. Thank you. May God bless Jamaica. May God bless Burkina Faso. And may God bless all nations striving for peace, dignity, and unity.
Now the question I want to ask, who is more of a dictator? Ibrahim Traore or Andrew Wallace? Because Andrew Wallace don't even want you talking in your own country. Andrew Wallace take the Integrity Commission to court because the Integrity Commission did not certify his statutory declaration. He want the court to throw out the enrichment law. Andrew Wallace, whenever anybody say anything about him or his wife, him send police, go dig them up and dig them down and beat and teach them. So who is more of a dictator? Let me know down below in the comment section. Just remember to leave a like on this video, people. Give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed as yet. Big up Ibrahim Traore. Big up over Africa. Alright? Blessings to each and everyone. Remember, the word is love.